Got my Smeltinator above him. Good night, buddy.
We're on.
Gussy gets it done, and oh Canada, you have a Bassmaster Classic champion!
All right, Jamie Bruce here from BT Fishing, talking about the Smeltinator Jig today. I'm going to show you how to rig it, a few different ways you can fish it, and maybe show you a few little tricks along the way. So this thing started back in 2007. Bryan Gustafson invented it, a really good tournament angler from Canada, and he just really had this in his mind and wanted the perfect the perfect jig head, and it's been around since 2007 and it doesn't seem to be going anywhere anytime soon. It's really starting to get some traction in the US now. It's been winning tournaments in Canada for years. It's won all the big events. It's probably the #1 money winner in in central Canada, and that's for a bunch of reasons we're going to get into. But this thing first broke out onto the national derby scene back in 2021 when Gussy won that elite event on the Tennessee River on it. It really got exposed, got some traction then. There's been tons of questions, a few knockoffs. But after that, fast forward a year, Cooper Gallant wins a Bassmaster Southern Open on Cherokee Lake on the very same technique. I was actually down there for my first ever Bassmaster Open tournament and got third on the same technique and watched Cooper win doing the exact same thing. So fast forward another year, biggest tournament, biggest stage, the Bassmaster Classic, was just officially won on the Smeltinator Jig head exclusively. Obviously there's something to it. It's not just a hunk of lead. There's a lot more to it than people think, and we're gonna dig into that a little bit here. This jig can be fished tons of different ways. It's not a one-trick pony. Moping is the biggest one. That's what everyone knows it for. So I'll just show you quick how we rig that up. Really simple. This is a 5-inch Z-Man jerk shads. I just cut the nose flat. That's just a personal preference, you don't have to. And then this is a 3/8 2/0 Smeltinator jig head. You can use a 3/0, people like 4/0, it's all preference, depends on the scenario too. But yeah, pretty simple. So once you get it, rounded and near that conical keeper, I like to put a drop of glue on it right then. You don't have to, but it really helps it out. So it's rounded, it's close, and then what you're gonna do is just pull the bottom of that Z-Man jerk shads, and then it just snugs up. And it's laser straight. Everything's good to go. If it's not perfectly straight, you won't be able to glide it through the water. You might still catch some fish directly under the boat on it, but if you want to pitch around a little bit, that's where, having it perfectly straight is essential. So there's the rig sitting nice and pretty. You'll notice a few things on this jig. The 90-degree line tie, and then the ultra realistic finish, really high-end airbrush job, good clear coat. It's not going to come off or chip off or anything. And then it's got oversized eyes, and those all come together to just make it the perfect package. And then we throw that super sharp and strong hook, which is important too. That's the rig right there. And you might be thinking, well, it's just a jig head. I can, use any piece of lead. Well, if you check out these videos, I shot these last fall, and you'll see every one of these smallmouth bass that comes up will look directly at the jig head. They don't even pay attention to the rest of the bait. It's important that Z-Man bait looks good and floats horizontal because of its buoyancy, but you'll notice the fish are really keying in on the jig head. They look at it, that's where they eat it, that's what attracts them. Until you see it underwater, it just seems like a jig head, but it's much more than that, and that's one of the reasons why it's been such a dominating jig. So obviously you don't want to skimp out. There's plenty of knockoffs out there that just don't have the components that we do, and just aren't built on the foundation that the Smeltinator jig was created. So keep that in mind when you're shopping for a head for moping. So the moping or the Demiki rig, I don't think we need to call it that anymore. We'll just call it moping. But there's a few other methods that people have been using on the Great Lakes, for example. This is a camo 1/8 1/0. Just a really downsized version. That's a 3-inch Z-Man Slim Swims. That's an absolute smallmouth weapon. We send lots of those to Sturgeon Bay and to the Great Lakes, and you know, they're really good on just finesse fishing smallmouth on those shallow flats. You know, and then all the way up, here's a 3/8 4/0. People use these on umbrella rigs because it's got the perfect hook, or just fish it on its own. Like I said, super versatile. We make them all the way up. This is a 1/2 ounce 5/0. People use this for like the 7-inch jerk shads, for a 5-inch swim bait. You know, they'll tie bucktail and make a preacher style jig on it. Like I said, just really versatile. We're tournament anglers, so we want all the options for all the circumstances. You know, you can see the difference in there, and you know, all the jig heads have the same components. They're all built to the same standards, and there's a lot of other things you can do with them than just moping. So I'll link these below, where to check them out, where to buy them, and while you're there, check out some of the other high quality innovative tackle in the BT fishing lineup.